What if the darkest secrets lie in the most unexpected places? A small town in California, 1993, seemingly peaceful. But beneath the quiet streets, something sinister unfolded. Michaela Jace, just 16 years old, was found murdered. The brutal crime shocked the entire community, yet the killer remains unidentified, even after all these years. This wasn't just a tragic loss, this was a mystery that would haunt Bakersfield for decades. Who could have done something so terrible? And why? Was this an act of violence out of nowhere, or was there something deeper going on? Nearly 30 years later, the family still doesn't have answers. Investigators still haven't cracked the case. But as time passes, is the truth slipping away? Or will someone, someday, finally reveal what really happened to Mickey Jace? What if the answers you've been searching for were right in front of you the whole time, hidden in plain sight? Stay with us to uncover the chilling details of this case. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because you won't want to miss what happens next. Michaela Jace, or Mickey as her friends called her, was just like any other teenager, full of life and promise. A smile that could light up a room, and a personality that made everyone around her feel like they were the most important person in the world. She was a bright student, someone who loved spending time with her family and was always looking for ways to help out in her community. Mickey had a passion for life, always filled with energy, always planning for the future. Her dreams were as big as anyone's. She wanted to make something of herself, to leave a lasting impact on the world. She was the kind of person who made friends easily. Her friends remembered her as a loyal and compassionate soul. Mickey was the girl who listened when you needed to talk, who made everyone laugh, and who loved the simple joys of being a teenager in a small town. But even though life looked perfect on the outside, Mickey was no stranger to the challenges that come with growing up. Behind her infectious smile, there were struggles. Like anyone her age, she faced doubts, insecurities, and the pressures of figuring out who she wanted to be in the world. The world she knew was a quiet, suburban town in California, Bakersfield. The kind of town where everyone knew everyone, where everyone looked out for one another. It was a place that felt safe, where families gathered for barbecues, kids played in the streets, and neighbors could trust one another. Mickey lived in this world, surrounded by love from her family and a supportive group of friends. But like all small towns, there was darkness lurking beneath the surface, things that no one ever expects, especially not someone as full of life as Mickey. No one could have predicted what would happen next, what would rob this bright young girl of the future she was destined to have. In 1993, Mickey's life was tragically cut short, and with her death, everything changed. A family was shattered, a community broken, and the search for answers began. What happened that night, in the place that should have been the safest, would leave behind a mystery so chilling, it would haunt Bakersfield for decades. But the real question is, how could something so terrible happen to someone so full of potential? To understand the full story, make sure you're subscribed, because the truth behind Mickey's death is about to unravel. Don't miss it. Michaela Jace was last seen leaving her home on a particular night. Her family thought nothing of it at first. After all, she was a teenager, often out with friends or heading to a local hangout spot. But when hours passed, and Mickey didn't come home, her family's concern grew. By morning, they were frantic. Something was wrong. Something had happened to Mickey. Her family quickly called the police, but no one could have predicted what would unfold in the coming days. As investigators began their search, no one knew where to begin. Mickey's disappearance seemed so out of character. She wasn't the type to run away or disappear without a trace. Yet, despite their best efforts, there were no solid leads, nothing to explain where she had gone or why. Then, a few days later, a discovery was made, one that would change everything. Mickey's body was found in a remote area outside of town, a place that seemed to have no connection to her life in Bakersfield. The place was quiet, isolated. A graveyard of forgotten dirt roads and empty fields. It wasn't where anyone would expect to find a missing teenager. The body was discovered by a passerby, who immediately alerted the authorities. The scene was haunting, a young girl's lifeless body left alone in an abandoned area, as if discarded like trash. The investigators were stunned. But what shocked them even more were the details of the scene that were hard to ignore. There were signs of clear trauma to Mickey's body, marks that suggested a violent struggle. Her life had been violently taken from her, but there was something strange, something that made the whole case even more baffling. Despite the brutality of the crime, there were no signs of a struggle at her home, no sign that she had fought back in any way before leaving. And there were no witnesses, no one had seen anything unusual the night she went missing. No one knew who could have done this to Mickey. No one could explain why she was out there, in a place so far from home. As the investigators combed through the scene, they found no obvious clues, no murder weapon, no fingerprints, nothing that could tell them who had committed this terrible act. The evidence didn't add up. As they began piecing together the timeline of that night, they found themselves with more questions than answers. Why was Mickey there? Who would want to harm her? And why was there so little evidence left behind? The case was like a puzzle, but the pieces just wouldn't fit. The truth seemed to slip further away with every passing day. Was this a random act of violence, or was there something more to the story? Something that no one had thought of yet? The questions keep piling up. What happened that night? Could there be something, or someone, that's been overlooked all this time? Stay tuned to uncover more of this chilling story. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that button now, so you don't miss any updates on this mystery. As the investigation into Michaela Jace's murder unfolded, the small town of Bakersfield held its breath. The town was in shock, struggling to comprehend how such a brutal act could happen to a young girl who was well-liked and respected in her community. The police, too, were determined to find the truth, but as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, it became painfully clear, the investigation was stalling. Despite a growing list of suspects, potential leads, and even a few promising clues, the case seemed to hit a dead end at every turn. There were no obvious answers. No smoking gun. And as time passed, the frustration mounted. One of the first theories that emerged was that Mickey's murder was the result of a random act of violence. Could it have been a stranger, someone who picked her out of nowhere and attacked without any connection to her? That was one of the theories that the police investigated, but it didn't quite add up. Why would someone from outside the community, someone without any clear motive, do this to a girl like Michaela? There were also some unusual coincidences that investigators couldn't ignore. Several people came forward claiming to have seen Mickey with a man on the night she disappeared. The descriptions were vague, but they were enough to give investigators hope. Could this man be the key to solving the case? But just as quickly as these leads appeared, they vanished. The man described by witnesses couldn't be traced. No one knew who he was, and his identity remained a mystery. And those who had seen him were left wondering, was this just a case of mistaken identity? Or was he someone who knew more than he was letting on? Then came a chilling twist that shocked everyone involved in the case. A local man, known to have had an on-again, off-again relationship with Mickey, was brought in for questioning. At first, it seemed like a promising lead. But after hours of interrogation, it became clear that he had an alibi. He was ruled out as a suspect, leaving investigators back at square one. As the investigation continued, more questions arose. Could someone from Mickey's past have been involved in her death? Someone who had a motive, but whose connection to Mickey was hard to trace. Could the killer have been someone close to her, someone who she trusted, someone who knew her intimately? These were the theories that lingered in the air, unanswered and unresolved. And just when it seemed like the case couldn't get any more mysterious, a new piece of evidence surfaced, an anonymous tip from a witness who claimed to have seen something strange the night of the murder. But even this lead, which seemed to promise new hope, quickly fizzled out. The witness was never identified, and the tip didn't lead to any concrete evidence. The investigation stalled. Every lead, every theory, every suspect seemed to bring the investigators right back to where they started, with no clear answers and no killer in sight. And as the years dragged on, the town of Bakersfield was left wondering, what had really happened to Michaela Jace? Who could have committed such a terrible crime? The search for answers seemed endless. The investigation continues to this day, and the mystery of Mickey Jace's death lingers over Bakersfield like a dark cloud. What really happened that night? And will we ever know the truth? If you want to stay updated on this chilling case, make sure you subscribe, so you don't miss the next part of this mystery. As the years passed, the town of Bakersfield was left in a state of uncertainty. The murder of Michaela Jace had shaken the community to its core, leaving residents in disbelief. They couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong, but no one seemed to have the answers. And as time wore on, the case grew colder, and the promise of justice seemed to slip further away with each passing year. Mickey's family, especially her parents, became relentless in their pursuit of the truth. They were determined to find out what had happened to their daughter, no matter how long it took. For them, the passing of time didn't dull the pain, if anything, it made it worse. Each year without answers felt like a reminder that Mickey's killer remained out there, free. Her mother, in particular, would continue to speak out, holding on to the hope that someone, somewhere, knew something that could finally bring her daughter's killer to justice. The community watched as her grief never waned, even as the years turned into decades. In every interview, every memorial, every vigil, it was clear, the loss of Mickey was something that could never be healed. As the years went by, the town of Bakersfield also found itself grappling with a sense of guilt. They were haunted by the feeling that they had failed to protect one of their own. With each anniversary of Mickey's death, people would gather to remember her, but the pain was palpable. The town was still searching for closure, searching for a way to move on, but unsure of how. Even today, decades later, this case remains an open wound in Bakersfield. It has never been closed. People still talk about it in hushed tones, wondering what happened, who did it, and why it remains unsolved. Those who knew Mickey personally, her friends, her teachers, her neighbors, still feel her absence, and they hold on to the hope that one day, justice will be served. The pain of her loss is something that has forever marked this town. But it is also the catalyst for change. The case has pushed the community to support one another and to fight for justice in ways they never thought possible. The unanswered questions surrounding Mickey's murder have sparked a movement of awareness, with people in Bakersfield uniting to ensure that her story is never forgotten. The scars left behind by that tragic night are still felt by everyone who knew Michaela Jace, and the echoes of her life continue to resonate throughout this small town. As time moves on, the fight for justice continues, with her family still standing at the front lines, demanding answers and never giving up hope. And so, as decades pass, the town still waits. Will the killer be brought to justice? Or will Mickey's family and friends forever live with the haunting uncertainty of what really happened that fateful night? Mickey's story is a reminder of the long-lasting effects of unsolved crimes. Even as time goes on, the search for justice continues. If you want to follow this case and see how it unfolds, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for the next part of this mystery. Though many years have passed, the search for answers continues. New clues and leads still surface from time to time, breathing new life into the investigation. But even with renewed interest, the haunting question remains, will the killer ever be caught? Despite the passage of nearly 3 decades, Michaela's family still fights for closure. Every new lead, every small breakthrough, fills them with a glimmer of hope, only to leave them with more frustration when the truth remains just out of reach. The case remains open, but the clock is ticking. With each passing day, the chances of finding the person responsible seem to fade. In recent years, there has been renewed attention on the case. Investigators continue to comb through old evidence, hoping that advancements in forensic technology might reveal the answer. A new generation of detectives has taken up the cause, but despite their best efforts, the key to solving this mystery still eludes them. Michaela's family hasn't given up. They attend every update, hoping for a breakthrough, praying for a piece of evidence that will finally point to the killer. But as the years go by, it's impossible to ignore the reality that the answers they seek may never come. The pain of living with an unsolved murder is a weight that Michaela's parents still carry, and it's a burden that only grows heavier as the years stretch on. And yet, the town of Bakersfield, too, carries its own scars. This mystery is not just Michaela's family's battle, it's the town's, too. People still talk about her disappearance, still wonder if they might have missed something, still fear that the killer may still be among them. With each new development, each new theory, the hope remains. But the fear of never finding out what really happened to Michaela Jace never fades. For her family, for the community, and for everyone who's been touched by this tragedy, the question still hangs in the air like a ghost that refuses to leave. What really happened to Michaela Jace? Will the killer ever be caught? Will this mystery ever be solved? Or will it remain one of the greatest unsolved crimes in California's history? What do you think happened to Michaela Jace? Do you believe the truth will ever come out? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and make sure to subscribe for more updates on this chilling mystery. The case is still open. The mystery surrounding Michaela Jace's death remains unsolved, and with each passing day, the search for answers continues. What do you think happened to Michaela? Do you have any theories, or do you believe the killer is still out there, waiting to be caught? We want to hear your thoughts. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Your opinion matters. Could a new piece of evidence come to light? Or will this case remain one of the darkest unsolved mysteries in California's history? If you found this story compelling and want to explore more chilling, unsolved true crime cases, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another story. We dive deep into the mysteries that keep you up at night. Thank you for watching, and remember, the truth is out there, and sometimes, it just takes one person to bring it to light.